Amazing secret revealed. Millionaire witnesses touching moment as janitor defends disabled girl. The Friday night lights shined bright over Cedarwood High, casting an electric glow on the buzzing crowd. A sea of families gathered, laughter mixing with the tantalizing scent of popcorn. Yet, beneath the vibrant facade of school spirit and camaraderie, there was Max, a 35-year-old janitor with calloused hands and a heart full of love. The sounds of joy only drew attention to his modest station. His life revolved around mopping floors and cleaning classrooms while providing for his cherished daughter, Lily, the sweet, bright-eyed girl who loved art but struggled with the cruel stings of youth, was often left unnoticed. It didn't matter to Max, her smile made every late night worth it. He threw himself into his work, hoping to give her the opportunities he never had. Every Thursday, he participated in parent support meetings, sharing his struggles and learning to navigate resources because Lily deserved the world. But tonight, as the cheering intensified, Lily sat near the sidelines, her small hands gripping a worn-out backpack. Max rushed through the hallways, a bundle of cleaning supplies in hand, unaware that Bruce, a successful businessman and proud philanthropist, watched from his glass box seat, his attention shifting toward Lily when he noticed the sneering bullies hovering around her like vultures. Max's heart raced as laughter floated through the air, taunting Lily. He stopped in his tracks, emotions swirling. Fear squeezed his chest as he debated whether to intervene. The laughing echoed like a dark cloud over his thoughts. He could already feel the weight of the world on his shoulders, but this was his little girl. He took a deep breath, letting it out slowly, but his resolve began to strengthen. "Hey! Leave her alone." Max's voice cut through the evening, filled with a father's fierce love. The laughter faded to whispers as he stepped closer. Bruce found himself gripping the railing, wrestling with his own emotions, recalling moments of joy from his childhood overshadowed by his current wealth. He felt a nagging sense of guilt bubbling under his skin. As Max approached the bullies, anger mixed with desperation clouded his mind. The onlookers shifted nervously, exchanging glances. Bruce swallowed hard, battling the churning in his gut. Watching a father defend his child ignited something deep within him, a spark of recognition for his own past. Max didn't scream. He spoke calmly but with a raw intensity, his voice carrying the weight of endless sacrifices. "You need to understand, everyone deserves a chance to be happy. Especially her." The hushed crowd shifted, filled with tension and a deep sense of empathy. This wasn't just about bullying, it was about dignity in a world that often turned its back. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Bruce, compelled by an impulse he hadn't felt in years, stood to insert himself into the scene. As he approached, the murmurs crescendoed, an air of anticipation surrounding him. How would he be received? The privileged often stayed on the sidelines, but tonight, a yearning for connection pushed him forward. Max's spirit flickered, a candle in a gusty wind. Would this moment bridge the gap of privilege and the fight for dignity? As tensions rose, all hope hung in the balance. Would Bruce step up, or would the divide widen, leaving both Max and Lily heartbroken? As the crowd held its collective breath, the outcome remained uncertain, the future teetering like a finely balanced scale. Bruce took one steadying breath before stepping into the fray. The murmurs grew louder, curiosity peaking as he made his way past rows of spectators. When he reached the edge of the makeshift arena lined by cheering fans and colorful banners, time felt as if it slowed. Glancing at Max, he saw a mixture of determination and fear etched into the janitor's face. "Hey!" Bruce finally called out, his voice firm, yet carrying an unmistakable tremble. The ball of tension twisted in the air, everyone's attention shifted to him. The bullies turned, caught off guard, faces twisting from mockery to uncertainty. "I think it's time you all learned some respect," he continued, stepping closer to Max and Lily. His heart raced, but it pulsed with something new, an electric charge of purpose. "Look around you," he gestured to the crowd now focusing on him. "Aren't we all here for the same reason? To cheer on our teams and support our own? Hiding behind insults? That's not how friendships are made." Max's heart thundered as he stood by, surprised yet empowered by Bruce's sudden solidarity. Lily's eyes widened, a flicker of hope blossoming amidst the chaos. With every word Bruce spoke, Max's defenses softened. "You know, I was once a lot like you," Bruce said, his voice dropping, almost vulnerable. "Chasing trophies and popularity. I forgot what really mattered. Yesterday, I visited my childhood home, and I remembered those kids. I saw their faces. Those who never got chances. Just like Lily." The sincere vulnerability in Bruce's tone cut through the air, creating space for a dialogue that was long overdue. The bullies shifted nervously, unsure of how to respond. Max perched close, poised like a guardian, willing to protect his girl at all costs. As the showdown lingered in the air, Bruce turned to Lily. "You are brave. Braver than many that I've known. Don't let anyone dim your unique light." His words hung like a promise, an assurance that she was seen and valued. Emboldened by this unexpected support, a smile cautiously crept onto Lily's face. It was tentative, but it seeped warmth into the cold atmosphere around them. The audience began to murmur among themselves, creating a ripple of connection that washed away the initial harshness. In that moment, the bullying seemed to recede like a retreating tide, and a new kind of spirit emerged, a spirit fueled by compassion. Bruce took another step closer. "Let us put an end to this hostility tonight. Together. We can all do better." Cheers erupted from the crowd, mixing with the sound of hope. But the bullies stood in stunned silence, their bravado shaken. Max exchanged a glance with Bruce, awe and gratitude mirrored in his eyes. Each man stood humbled yet proud, united in purpose. But then, just as defeat threatened to settle in among the bullies, their leader clenched his fists and stepped forward, a fighting fire ignited within. "You don't think this is over, do you?" Everything froze, the atmosphere thickening with palpable tension. The crowd hushed, uncertainty replacing the earlier jubilation. Max braced himself, ready to defend Lily again if needed. Was unity strong enough to quell the animosity? Or would anger lash out once more, splintering the fragile peace that had just begun to take root? As they held their collective breath, the battle lines were redrawn. What would happen next? The leader of the bullies stepped forward, aggression thick in the air. Bruce felt adrenaline spike through his veins, a point of no return lurking just ahead. The crowd's excitement had fizzled, replaced by a tense stillness. Kids exchanged worried glances, some holding their breath while others gripped their phones, ready to capture whatever happened next. "You really want to end this?" The bully barked, the sneer plastered across his face. "Look around, man. No one cares about you or your little speech. You're just making it worse for them." His eyes moved to Lily, who stood trembling next to Max. "Do you think they'll respect her after this? She's different, and they love to see it." Laughter erupted from the back, its mocking shrillness only deepening the rift in the atmosphere. Bruce felt his stomach drop. Gone was the fire burning bright in his chest, now it ached with frustration. "They don't have to. We're all different," he shot back, struggling to keep his voice steady. "And that's what makes us stronger. Lily deserves respect, just like everyone else standing here. None of you know what she faces every single day." The bully narrowed his eyes, chewing over Bruce's words. A flicker of doubt crossed his face. For a brief moment, it seemed the tide might turn, but then the defenses went back up. "Shut up!" he yelled, anger spitting from his lips like venom. You think you can change all of this with a few touching words? You're just a washed-up janitor, and she's just a girl in a wheelchair. What do you know? The crowd tensed again, but this time, crickets could almost be heard chirping in the background. They were stuck between the thrill of nastiness and the glow of something hopeful. Maybe you're right, Bruce replied, grounding himself with deep breaths. I'm just a janitor. But remember this, everyone has their battles, and everyone deserves a chance. I believe she'll shine brighter than any of us if only you let her. Those closest to him began to murmur in agreement, voices that sparked like dry kindling, igniting a fire of solidarity among them. Max took a step closer to Lily, his hand reaching out to clasp hers, finding comfort in their combined strength. The leader scoffed, but the depth of his laugh contained an anchor of doubt. The realization that perhaps things could change crept in. You really think you can talk me out of this? You're dreaming. But Bruce sensed a shift, a crack in the armor of indifference around those who had only ever followed. More than just a promise of courage was rising from the crowd. This was community, and it was alive. Let them speak. A voice yelled from behind, a ripple pushing through the throngs of spectators. One by one, more voices emerged to echo support. Yeah. Respect is what we need. Someone shouted, the leader's smirk faltered, his bravado slowly crumbling in the face of unity. Any punchlines from before vanished, replaced by undeniable tension of connection and camaraderie. As the crowd roared back to life with cheers, a rush of hope washed over everyone present, even the dimmest of the bullies. A realization dawned: their force was dwindling, and standing on the sidelines wasn't enough anymore. Power was shifting towards recognition and empathy, but just as Bruce felt the air thicken with possibility, the bully's eyes sharpened menacingly. This isn't over. You've all seen what I can do. I'll be back. Unease rippled through the crowd. Bruce shifted, the fight leaving his body, replaced by a sense of urgency. He turned to Max and Lily, determination etched on his face. We can't let this moment disappear. We need to keep raising our voices. Together. With the sound of their words echoing into the night, an unpredictable energy hung in the air. What would happen when the dust settled? Would they be ready for the real battle ahead, or would fear creep back in? What new allies and challenges awaited them on this daunting path? Bruce stood rooted to the spot, the electric buzz of adrenaline fading but still tingling through his limbs. He looked around, his heart pounding against his chest. The faces of the kids, many of whom he had seen in the halls every day, were a mix of eagerness and genuine fear. He could sense the shift, the awakening of something deep inside them. They were tired of the shadows, tired of being mute spectators in the game of cruelty. Don't let him intimidate you, Bruce urged, his voice steadying as he glanced at Max and Lily. The way they had linked hands spoke volumes. It was a silent promise that they wouldn't stand alone. Yeah. He doesn't own us. Max called out, the fire in his voice catching on like wildfire. He stepped forward, emboldened by camaraderie. We're not just gonna sit back and let you do whatever you want. The crowd stirred, a wave of agreement washing over them like a refreshing breeze. Bruce felt a spark ignite in his core again, an old flame rekindling. This could be the moment that broke the cycle. The bully frowned, his bravado waning visibly under the pressure of the collective gaze. But he quickly masked it with a scowl. You think a bunch of losers shouting will change anything? You're kidding yourselves. A girl in the front, someone Bruce recognized from his afternoon shift at the school, shouted back, we're not losers. We're standing for what's right. Her voice was clear and strong, a beacon among the storm. Bruce took a deep breath, heart swelling with pride. He knew if they could keep pushing through this moment, they'd send a ripple that could change everything. Listen, he said, letting his voice carry above the crowd. You all have a part to play here. If we stand together, there's power in our words, in our actions. Change doesn't happen in silence. Agitation stirred in the bully's eyes as more students echoed their support. What's wrong with you? he muttered, stepping back, frustration palpable. The unity of the crowd was an uncharted territory for him. But then, right on cue, the crowd shifted again, even more voices calling for respect and understanding. They were hungry for change. The cheers rippling through the air felt like music to Bruce's ears, heralding a new beginning. Suddenly, a girl from the back shouted, "What if we film this? What if we share what's happening?" Gasps rippled through the audience, fingers swiping at phones like a swarm of bees, capturing something far more than just a moment. The atmosphere surged, a tide pulling them all into a single heartbeat. As if clicked into place, hope bloomed across their faces, a realization that they could amplify each other's voices. Even if they didn't have the answers, together, they could start a conversation that mattered. The bully seemed to shrink under the weight of their collective strength. "You won't get away with this," he spat, taking a step back, eyes darting as if looking for an escape. "We'll make sure you know you're not alone in this," Max shot back, a newfound fierceness in his voice. Just then, Lily rolled her wheelchair forward, a defiant stance that halted everyone in their tracks. "I may be different, but I'm still a part of this. And I deserve the same respect as anyone else." A hush fell over the crowd. Her honesty cut through the tension, an invitation to truly stand together. Bruce felt gratitude swelling within him for this fierce girl who had just reminded them how powerful vulnerability could be. In that moment, everything felt charged. Would they truly stand by Lily? Would they choose courage over cowardice? The bully, realizing that the game was beginning to change, turned and started to retreat, though not without casting one last venomous glance over his shoulder. The way he swayed out of the spotlight spoke volumes, defeat wrapped in anger. As excitement buzzed through the air, Bruce turned back to his friends, determination palpable. "This is only the beginning," he said, eyes darting to the still eager faces around him. "We need to keep this energy alive and build something bigger. We can't stop here. Are you with me?" Their cheers, loud enough to fill the air, promised more than just support, they promised action. Little did Bruce know, the real challenges were just beginning, and the story he was a part of was still unraveling. What other secrets were hidden beneath the surface? What would happen when they dared to delve deeper into the truths that bound them each together? As the echoes of their cheers faded, a sudden weight lifted off Bruce's shoulders. But he couldn't shake the anticipation crackling in the air. They had sparked something, but what would come next? The crowd buzzed around him, faces lit with fire, uncertain yet eager. "Did you see that?" Max exclaimed, bouncing on his feet. "We actually made him back down." Energy pulsed through Max as he turned to face the others, each kid's expression a mix of disbelief and joy. "Yeah, but it's not over yet," Bruce reminded them, heart still racing from the confrontation. "People like him don't change overnight. We need to figure out how to keep this going." Lily's eyes widened as she moved closer to the group. "What if we organized something? Like a meeting, or a club? We can focus on seeing each other, really seeing one another." The idea seemed to ignite a conversation. People began to brainstorm, voices overlapping with what they could do: rallies, awareness campaigns, social media efforts. They bounced ideas off one another, the spark of unity igniting more dreams. It felt like they were building a fortress against the old ways of fear and silence. Bruce felt his heart swell with hope. But just then, the school's principal, Mr. Carson, approached them. His brow was furrowed, and his eyes darted to the crowd of kids, still abuzz with excitement. "What is going on here?" he asked, tone serious yet curious. We were just," Max began, but Bruce stepped in. "We were just standing up for ourselves, sir. We deserve to be heard and respected. We can't let bullies enforce silence anymore." A ripple of agreement rushed through the gathered students. Mr. Carson shifted on his feet, clearly weighing the situation. "I see, and you think this will make a difference?" "It already has." Lily's voice cut through, her determination shining bright. We're tired of being treated like we don't matter. We can change things together. But you need to be careful, Mr. Carson replied, gaze softening. This school has rules. You're allowed to stand up against bullying, but things have to be done the right way. Then help us, Bruce said, desperation and fire intermingling in his words. We want to work with you. Let us be part of the solution. I'll think about it, Mr. Carson said slowly, a hint of possibility in his voice. But I expect to see some structure behind your ideas. The moment hung heavy with uncertainty, but a flicker of hope nestled within. The kids stood together, resolute against any rain of doubt that might try to dampen their spirits. Thank you, Bruce said earnestly as Mr. Carson walked away, leaving a door slightly ajar. As conversations picked back up, Max tugged on Bruce's sleeve. Do you really think we can do this? I mean, like really? Bruce paused, taking in the faces around him. I believe we can, he said, voice steady. What if we make a plan to present to Mr. Carson? Let us map out how we want to approach this. Excited whispers filled the air again, visions of change and resilience taking shape. With each passing moment, Bruce could see the journey ahead begin to unfold, but doubt crept in. Could this movement withstand the forces trying to dismantle it? After a few brainstorming sessions, they began to finalize their ideas. Bruce found himself leaning closer to Lily, who was animatedly explaining how they could use the phone footage to convey their message. It really touched everyone, and it shows a vulnerability that will resonate, she said, with a spark of joy lighting her features. But a nagging thought echoed in Bruce's mind. How long could their newfound unity stand strong against hidden adversity? Were they ready for the challenges ahead, the inevitable pushback from those invested in keeping things the same? Just as his worries swirled and rippled like the sea, a shadow loomed near their circle. The atmosphere thickened, laughter and ideas stuttering to a stop as a familiar figure stepped out from the corner of the schoolyard. It was the bully, flanked by his crew, the tension sliced through the air. What would happen next? Would they stand strong against fear, or would the dream begin to unravel? The bully stepped into the circle, eyes narrowed and a smirk twisting his lips. His friends gathered around him, puffing up their chests like a pack of wolves ready for a fight. Bruce's heart thudded loudly in his ears. Instinctively, he stood a bit taller, grounding himself. Look who decided to come back for more, the bully sneered, directing his gaze at Bruce. You really think you can do this? You're just a bunch of kids. Max stiffened beside Bruce, but Lily placed a hand on his shoulder, silently urging him to stay calm. She took a step forward, chin raised high. We're not afraid of you. What you do doesn't scare us anymore. We're here for each other, and we're not going to let you bully us anymore. The bully's smirk faltered for just a moment, that flicker of uncertainty was like a fleeting crack in a wall. But then he laughed, a harsh sound that made everyone's skin crawl. You think you can just organize a little club and things will change? You're dreaming. Bruce's gaze flicked around at the other kids gathered with him. Some seemed scared, others defiantly resolute. You don't get it. We're tired of living in fear. This is a fight we're willing to take on. And it's not just about you anymore. The crowd buzzed with murmurs, the strength of unity simmering beneath the surface. The bully eyed them all, searching for weakness. So cute, he replied. But I know how this goes. You start playing hero, and I'll make your lives miserable. He turned, throwing a mocking wave at the group, motioning for his friends to follow him. As they walked away, Bruce felt a rush of adrenaline. But it was different from before. It was no longer just about standing up. It was about solidifying their intent. We can't let them have the last word, he said, his voice rising above the chatter. This is our chance to show we're serious. Max's eyes sparkled with defiance. Let us make posters. We can gather support after school. And plan a meeting in the cafeteria, Lily added quickly, passion igniting in her voice. If everyone knows we're coming together, they might want to join in. They need to see we won't hide anymore. With each suggestion, Bruce felt the energy ramp up, a wave of determination fueling their efforts. They spent the next hour sketching ideas, drawing designs, and mapping out their plans. Yet, Bruce couldn't shake the feeling of dread lingering in the back of his mind. What if the bully's threat wasn't just empty words? What if intimidation crossed over and punchlines turned into physical blows? He glanced at the group, their faces filled with excitement and hope, pushing the unease away. "We march forward," he whispered to himself, feeling the resolve strengthen with every heartbeat. Then the bell rang, echoing across the schoolyard, and the kids began to disperse, fueled by purpose. Just as Bruce turned to join his friends, a sudden rustle caught his attention. From the shadowed corner of the playground, he saw a girl he recognized, Sarah, a soft-spoken girl in his class. She was often invisible, always seated alone. He barely ever spoke to her, but he knew she faced her own struggles, the kind of bullying that left scars unseen. Caught off guard, Bruce felt a swell of empathy. "Hey, Sarah!" he called out, taking a couple of hesitant steps toward her. Instantly, her eyes widened like he had startled her. I'm fine," she said softly, fidgeting with the strap of her backpack. But Bruce stepped closer, recognizing the need beneath her words. "We're starting something important. Would you want to join us? We want everyone to feel safe to make their voices matter." Her hesitation hung thick in the air. The others looked on, holding their breath, waiting. Would Sarah step out of the shadows to find her voice? Would this be a turning point for her, or just another moment lost in fear? The weight of the moment hung heavily as anticipation thrummed in the air. What would she decide? Sarah's eyes darted around, almost as if searching for an escape route from the weighty moment pressing down on her. Bruce stood there, quiet but hopeful, giving her space. "You're not alone, you know," he said gently. "We're here for each other, and the last thing we want is for anyone to feel like they don't fit in." The others shuffled closer, drawing on each other's strength. Lily's voice broke the silence. "I've seen you in class, Sarah. You're really smart, and we can use your ideas." With each encouraging word, Bruce noticed a change in Sarah's expression. The reluctance in her eyes softened. He could almost see the wheels turning in her mind, battling against the mental barriers built from years of feeling small, overlooked. What kind of help do you need?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. There was a fragile spark of curiosity breaking through her hesitation, like a flower blooming in the cracks of concrete. Max jumped in eagerly. "We want to create a safe space. A club where everyone can talk about what they're going through without fear. We'll be a team. Together." A breath caught in Bruce's throat, and he held on to hope. "And we'll tackle this bully together. You don't have to face him alone." The weight of Sarah's insecurities was palpable, but something shifted in her posture. Her shoulders lifted slightly, and her chin rose just a bit. For the first time, Bruce felt he was witnessing the very beginning of a transformation. "Okay," she said, her voice still soft but resolute. "I want to help." A wave of warmth washed over the group, sending smiles and relieved laughter around them. It was as if a barrier had broken, and they could all breathe a little easier. There was something magical in the air, collective courage blooming among them. "But what if he doesn't just leave us alone?" Sarah's voice trembled as the fear crept back in. "What if he really tries to hurt us?" Bruce stepped closer, closing the small distance that still lingered. "Then we stay united. We won't let him scare us away. Remember what we talked about, the posters? We make people aware, and we stick up for each other. We won't hide anymore." Lily nodded, her determination palpable. "And we should make sure to spread the word. Let us reach out to others who want to join us, people like Sarah who've been left out." The notion sparked fresh energy. They began brainstorming again, their voices bubbling with excitement. Max suggested, We could even create a safe zone in the cafeteria where people can come and chat without fear. As they tossed around ideas, Bruce noticed Sarah's smile growing, a shy but genuine smile. It was enchanting, a beacon of newfound hope. He could see the shadows lifting from her face. But just as Bruce felt optimistic thoughts taking root, a chilling sensation skated up his spine. He imagined the bully watching from afar, biding his time. Would this ounce of hope shine bright enough to overcome the looming threat? Even in the warmth of their circle, Bruce felt the weight of the uncertainty creeping back in. Just as they wrapped up their plans for the meeting, a sudden shadow loomed over them. Turning, Bruce found the bully standing at the edge of the playground, flanked by his wolf pack. The mocking smile was back on the bully's face. "What's this? A little club for misfits?" His voice rang out, laced with a sickening glee. Bruce felt a rush of fear and rage. Would they shrink back, or stand their ground together? The line had been crossed, and now everything would change. "Let us show them they can't intimidate us if we stand together," Bruce thought, clenching his fist. The next few moments felt critical. Would they rise to the occasion, or would the shadows swallow them whole? What would happen when the showdown finally came? The bully's laughter echoed like thunder in Bruce's ears, drowning out the sounds of the playground. Everyone froze for a heartbeat, the world narrowing down to that mocking voice and the palpable fear it stirred in the air. "Look at them, a bunch of losers." The bully sneered, stepping closer while his friends snickered behind him, fanning the flames of his cruel confidence, but instead of retreating, Bruce took a deep breath, feeling the heat of vulnerability combine with newfound strength. Lily shifted beside him, her eyes fierce and wide with determination. Sarah's gaze flitted between Bruce and the bully as if searching for guidance, her resolve hanging by a thread. "This isn't how we do things anymore," Bruce said, his voice steady but his heart pounding in his chest. "You're the one who doesn't belong here. You think you can just bully us into silence?" The bully narrowed his eyes, the surprise flickering for a moment before anger replaced it. "Oh really? What are you gonna do? Throw a pity party?" The laughter from his friends rang out again, yet Bruce stood his ground. He could feel the warmth of the group rallying behind him. "It's not about pity," Bruce countered, pitching his voice to carry over the growing tension, "it's about standing up for each other. Something you clearly wouldn't know anything about." The air crackled, and for a brief moment, the bully's confidence wavered. Then, suddenly, Sarah stepped forward, trembling but with a fire ignited in her eyes. "You can't keep us quiet anymore. We're done being afraid of you." A wave of astonishment washed over their little crowd, echoing in the silence that followed. Bruce's heart swelled. This was the Sarah he had sensed was waiting to emerge brave and purposeful. The bully scoffed, juggling between dismissiveness and genuine concern. "Cute words, little girl. But you think you can take me on? Together, we will." Max shouted, pumping a fist in the air. There was something infectious in his confidence that spread through the small group. They all began to echo his sentiments, small voices building into a chorus that echoed on the playground, creating a palpable wall of defiance. Yet the bully had the weight of his reputation at stake. He glanced back at his crew, gathering a moment of clarity, and he hardened his face, a signal that the confrontation was far from over. "You really think this little group can stop me? You're just wasting everyone's time." A chill gripped Bruce. Would the bully lash out? Would this band of friends be enough to push back against a storm? The vibrant emotions whirling in him, fear, courage, determination, seemed to fuse into a single powerful force pushing him forward. Sometimes it takes just one voice to start a revolution, Bruce thought, and then he said loudly, "You don't intimidate us. We'll build our safe zone right here and no one, not even you, can change that." His voice rang out, lower but more resolute, and he could sense the energy in the air shift dramatically. Now, the bully's smirk faltered as he realized that the handful of misfit kids he once saw as easy prey had transformed into a united front, brave and unyielding. But just as Bruce thought they had the upper hand, the bully turned, his demeanor suddenly dark. "You think this is over? Just wait," he hissed, and with that, he stepped back, his crew retreating with him but not without casting sidelong glares of fury and contempt. Relief washed over Bruce as they watched the group disappear into the distance, leaving a cloud of tension behind. "What did we just do?" Sarah whispered breathlessly, her eyes sparkling with a mix of disbelief and excitement. "We stood up," Bruce replied quietly, his heart still racing. "And tomorrow, we will be stronger." In that moment, the fear of what lay ahead began to dissolve like mist under the morning sun, replaced with the thrill of possibilities. As the group drew together, exhilaration pulsing through them, they couldn't shake the feeling that the real fight was just beginning. More questions lingered, like an ominous shadow. How would the bully retaliate? Would they be ready when he came back for a second round? And perhaps most importantly, would they still stand united when the challenge escalated? The next day dawned with an unusual brightness, the sun streaming through Bruce's bedroom window like a spotlight on their newfound resolution. For the first time, he felt a sense of hope swelling in his chest. He jumped out of bed, ready to face whatever came next. At school, the atmosphere was charged with energy. Whispers filled the hallways. It seemed like everyone was talking about what had happened on the playground. Students who usually stayed silent now nodded at Bruce and his friends, offering half-smiles and glances filled with admiration or at least curiosity. As they gathered outside their usual meeting spot, Bruce could feel the butterflies in his stomach fluttering wildly. He could see Sarah fidgeting, her fingers twisting together, while Lily was bouncing on her heels, excitement electrifying the air around them. Max, ever the anchor, leaned back against the wall, arms crossed, looking confidently around. "Guys, we need a plan," Bruce said, his voice a quiet but steady beacon cutting through the buzzing noise. "If the bully comes back, we can't just stand here and hope for the best. What if we set up a safe zone?" Lily suggested, her eyes sparkling. "Like, a space where we can regroup if he shows up. A reminder that we won't be intimidated." Sarah nodded. "And we could get more people involved. Maybe even reach out to upperclassmen for support." "Right." Max chimed in. "It's all about numbers. The more of us there are, the less he can mess with us." As they brainstormed, Bruce's heart swelled as he watched his friends take ownership of the plan. They were no longer just supporting him, they were stepping up, lighting their own torches in this little war against fear. But as the bell rang, a chill ran down Bruce's spine. He couldn't shake the feeling of impending confrontation. With every step down the hallway, he felt the weight of uncertainty pressing onto his shoulders. Would the bully really come back? During lunch, they sat together at their usual table, and whispers of yesterday's triumph flickered through the cafeteria. Bruce saw the usual crowd of kids who once lumped him and his friends in the losers category now observing them with respect. It was encouraging, but he could still see shadows lingering. Suddenly, the loud clamor of voices shifted, and Bruce's heart sank when he spotted the bully striding through the lunchroom with a new bravado. His gang of goons followed closely, smirking as they surveyed the room like predators. The bully's eyes locked onto Bruce's, and a dangerous smile stretched across his face. "Look who's feeling brave today," he sneered, stepping forward. There was an unsettling energy in the way he delivered the taunt. Bruce felt the air thicken around them, a wave of anxiety settling in. Not just for him, but for everyone at the table who had just found their strength. Silence had enveloped the cafeteria as students held their breath, watching to see how this confrontation would play out. "All right, if you're looking for a fight, let us get it over with," Bruce blurted out, surprising even himself. The rawness of his own voice echoed in the tension-filled air. The bully raised an eyebrow, taken aback for a second before his bravado returned tenfold. "Oh, you want a showdown, huh? Let us see how long you can keep this act up. You're all in over your heads." Bruce could feel Sarah's tremble next to him, but they all stayed rooted, hearts pounding in unison. Would backing down from this moment erase everything they had worked for? Would tomorrow still feel brighter after this storm? As the air hung thick with anticipation, Bruce wondered how would they protect their newfound strength against the looming threat. Would a simple act of bravery be enough to withstand the power of fear? In that moment, he heard the echoes of defiance behind him, igniting something deep within. It was now or never. Bruce squared his shoulders, determined not to waver in the face of fear. "We're not backing down," he said, voice strong and clear. The cafeteria, still under the eye of tension, seemed to breathe in unison. Around him, his friends gathered closer, a united front against the storm that was the bully. Lily gripped her wheelchair's handles tightly, her knuckles white with resolve. "You think we'll let you push us around?" she shouted, her voice carrying across the cafeteria like a bright, defiant beacon. The bully's smirk faltered momentarily, surprise crossing his face. "Look at you all, acting tough. You really think anyone here cares?" Bruce felt the energy surge among the gathered students, murmurs of encouragement bubbling to the surface. "We care," shouted a voice from the crowd. A ripple of agreement spread, building a wall of defiance that separated them from the bully's mocking presence. "You're not just a bunch of losers anymore," Sarah chimed in, her voice gaining strength, "we're a community." The cafeteria erupted in supportive shouts and cheering, and for the first time, Bruce felt their numbers could be stronger than the bully's viciousness. But the bully was relentless. "You think this little pep rally changes anything? You'll regret standing here." His companions snickered, but behind their laughter, doubt trickled into their eyes. The bully could see it. The tide was turning, he could sense it. "Actually, we're not afraid of you," Max replied, stepping up with an unwavering stance. "We're ready to do something about this. You're not the king of this playground anymore." The crowd responded with roaring cheers. Bruce's heart soared with pride as he realized the power of their unity. This wasn't just about standing up once, it was about creating a shift that could ripple through the school and beyond. The bully recoiled, his bravado cracking under the weight of collective resistance. "You're making a mistake," he spat, voice sharp as glass. But even as he launched his threats, Bruce could see the cracks widening in the bully's confidence. The more they stood their ground, the more the bully's arrogance dulled. Then, as if a spark ignited, a girl from the back shouted, "You don't scare us anymore." Her voice cut through, raw and real, fueled by the fires of change burning in everyone's heart. The cafeteria erupted again, the shouts now intertwining, "We care. We stand together." The air felt electric, bursting with empowerment and camaraderie. Suddenly, the bully shifted uncomfortably, his pack of goons backing away slightly. The unity around Bruce threatened to swallow him whole. "You'll regret this," he sneered, but there was hesitation beneath the surface, a flicker of doubt that hadn't been there before. "Step out of line again and you'll see what happens," Bruce challenged, summoning every ounce of courage. "We'll show you this is not just about us. We'll stand stronger than you've ever seen." For the first time, the bully looked uncertain, glancing back at his friends who were now shifting nervously. Maybe the winds of change were pushing them all forward. "Let us go," he muttered, waving his crew off like a wounded bird, their bravado quickly deflating. And with that, they turned, slipping away, leaving Bruce and his friends at the center of the cafeteria, hearts pounding yet full of fire. The cheers that erupted then weren't just sounds, they were the resonant vibrations of hope. Bruce stood tall as he looked at Lily, Sarah, and Max, their faces beaming with joy and triumph. "We did it!" he exclaimed, his voice choked with emotion. In that moment it wasn't merely about winning against a bully, it was about discovering their strength, realizing their voices could carry further than they ever dreamed. Change wasn't vague anymore, it was real and alive. As the crowd swelled around them, the laughter and shouts filled the cafeteria like sunlight breaking through clouds, illuminating their world anew. Weeks turned into months, but the unity that blossomed that day only grew stronger. They built their safe zone, organized meetings, and welcomed everyone with open arms. They learned to advocate for one another, empower those still fighting their own silent battles, and transform the culture of their school into one of respect and care. The bully never returned, transformed by the very presence of their spirit. And together, Bruce, Lily, and their friends created a sanctuary, a place where every voice mattered, especially those who had once gone unheard. In the end, they understood, true strength lies in community, and bravery isn't the absence of fear, it's standing together despite it. Now, let's make sure to keep spreading this message of strength, resilience, and unity. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support means the world. Comment and share your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support.